Hey, mamas. I'm so excited to share something really special with you. If you've been dreaming of starting your own business but feel stuck, whether it's time, confidence, or just not knowing where to start, you are not alone. I remember feeling the exact same way when I started with two toddlers at home. It seemed impossible to carve out the time or even figure out where to begin. But I found a way to make it work, and now I want to help you do the same. That's why my friend Michelle Charpentier and I are hosting a free live workshop just for moms like you who are ready to take the first step toward their dream business. The Blissness Blueprint for Busy Moms, 3 essential shifts to launch your dream business. It's on March 27th at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll walk you through the exact mindset shifts and strategies you need to stop overthinking and start doing. No more waiting for the perfect time. Let's create a plan that works for your life right now. I would love for you to join us. Just tap the link in the show notes or DM me the word bliss on Instagram to save your spot. I can't wait to see you there. Now, back to the show.
I don't like them seeing me sick, but I like them seeing me persevere through it, to to fight for myself, to work hard to feel better, for them to see that sometimes to feel better, you have to feel worse. Th- Sometimes that there are hard choices that you have to make
Mhm.
in order for the greater good. So it's one of those, like, learning by doing, learning by, they're watching me. They're watching me go through this. And I'm so grateful that I'm able to be strong enough to to show them that if I can get through this, they can get through what's life, whatever life is gonna throw at them too.
Welcome to Radiant Mom Rising. Get ready to be inspired, empowered, and uplifted. I'm your host, Mary Dibble, and in each episode, we dive into amazing stories, insights, and conversations that help moms like you chase your dreams and embrace your worth. Let's rise and shine together.
Life doesn't always go as planned, but what if your biggest challenges were actually guiding you towards something greater? Welcome back to Radiant Mom Rising. I'm your host, Mary Dibble, and today's episode is one you don't want to miss. My guest, Ryanne Siddiq, had a thriving career in finance when life threw her an unexpected curveball, chronic illness and Lyme disease. But instead of letting these challenges define her, Ryanne used them as fuel to create something meaningful. Her journey from battling severe health setbacks to becoming a published children's book author is nothing short of inspiring. She's here to share how she found purpose and the unexpected, why resilience and self compassion are key, and how you too can transform your struggles into something beautiful. So, if you've ever felt stuck, overwhelmed, or unsure of your next step, this episode is for you. Let's dive in. I'm excited to be speaking today with Ryanne. Thanks so much for joining me.
How are you, Mary?
I'm doing good. I hope you are.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
I'm so glad to have you here. Let's get started. How about you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
So I'm Ryanne Siddiq. I am a reformed financial professional turned children's book author. And my journey to that transition is quite the story. So I like to say that I race through book, motherhood, chronic illness, and life one apex at a time, because I'm also a big car girl. So
I know. I loved our conversation around that. So yeah, tell us a little bit about that. Your love for cars and what you've been through and your journey with that.
So, love for cars. It's funny because people always ask me, "Oh, are you into cars because your husband's into cars?" And it's like really hard to not get offended. So, my love of cars started when I was a little girl. And I was the little girl in my pink frilly dress because my mom could not get me into anything else. But I wasn't playing with the other little girls in their, with their dolls, playing house, anything like that. No, I was in the sandbox making roads and cities for my little Matchbox cars. So the love has always been there. It's never gone away. And I just happened to marry a guy who, when we met, we were both driving like just really beat down old cars. And we've slowly grown into, it was kind of older but fancy car. And then, like a little bit of an upgrade. And, so every time we upgraded a little bit more and found a community, and I call them my car fam. And they really sparked, a love for being out on the track, whether it's drag racing or circuit racing, and just, good people and good times and a lot of fun.
I
So it was actually when I was doing a bucket list trip during COVID. We were at the Formula One track in Austin, and we were driving our own car out there. And I had just had COVID for the second time. And having COVID the first time brought out all these really weird symptoms, like tremors in my hand, like really severe. I could hardly write. I was dropping things, you know, s- severe fatigue, which I kind of struggled with my whole life. And so now here we are, we're at this bucket list trip. And I had just gotten over COVID again. And now all of these symptoms are coming back out and there's more symptoms. So now I'm having these tremors. I'm having cardiac issues while I'm in a race car on the racetrack. And I was dangerous. I was dangerous to myself. I was dangerous to other people. So I pulled myself off the track and, had to really dig with my doctor because, like I said, I had been struggling with stuff for a while, but these symptoms were like major. They were much worse and much bigger symptoms than I had ever experienced. And kind of going back and forth with my doctor and, testing for MS and Parkinson's and all of this. So finally, the second time with all of the stuff that happened on the racetrack, my doctor said, wait a minute, I think this might be Lyme. We had tested for it previously and, over the years, and it always came back, the normal blood test always came back fine. Well, what the normal blood test does is it presents a negative result if you only have, or if you have less than 5 markers. So if you have 3 or 4 markers,
ah,
to me, that still means that I have the
right.
disease because
Yeah,
I would have 0 if I didn't have it.
exactly.
But the regulations are if you present with less than 5, then it's considered negative.
Mm.
So this is why I had been undiagnosed for as long as I had been. And so we sent blood work off to a specialized lab in California. And that blood work came back lit up like a Christmas tree. Oh, yes, you have Lyme.
Oh, gosh.
And we figure I probably had it for about 20 years.
Mm.
And looking back, postpartum, I really struggled, getting back into the swing of things emotionally, physically, all of this. And it's because, pregnancy and birth put me in a Lyme flare and we had no idea.
Yeah.
So, so here I am, I'm having all these like severely debilitating symptoms. It's during COVID. So at this point I had to leave my job with the financial company because, kids are distance learning, federal regulations. You can't work from home in a investment company. You have to be in office. So I had to leave my job. And it's one of those things where it's like, in some ways, COVID was a huge blessing.
Oh, I'm sitting here thinking that in my head, like, wow, again, something that
Oh,
seems so bad ends up the blessing in disguise. And that
right.
is the story of so many things for so many people. But yeah,
Yeah.
keep going. I love it.
So, so yeah, blessing in disguise. I'm able to deal with these debilitating symptoms without having to worry about, I need to go to work. Now, I did have to worry about, if my child sitting in front of his tablet and doing his distance learning.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, one, if not both of us ended up in tears on a daily basis during distance learning. But the blessing was that I was able to figure this out. COVID brought these symptoms to the surface so that I could finally get a diagnosis. And I cried tears of relief when I finally knew, because it was getting so bad. And you start to mentally think like, well, they're not finding anything wrong with me. Is it me imagining all of this? Do I need to just like suck it up and push forward? So the answer is no. If you are feeling bad, please advocate for yourself and keep pushing for answers. So, so here I am. I finally have a diagnosis. Well, now the treatment for Lyme
Yeah.
often makes you feel way worse before you feel better. So that was a struggle too, because it was, why am I going to take this medication that makes me feel horrible when I just felt bad before? So the mental struggle with having to do that and to do these treatments, which are super intense, it was rough. It was really rough. And, lots of dark days. And one of the big things that really, really got to me was all of the treatments triggered like hypersensitivity for every sense. So I couldn't taste or smell anything without it making me super nauseous. I couldn't deal with any light. So, TV with the light and the sound, like I couldn't watch TV, I couldn't watch movies. My kids couldn't touch me because as soon as somebody touched me, I was in agony. So now, not only do I feel horrible, but I can't even spend time with my family at the dinner table or, hanging out on the couch or anything else. So I read voraciously. And you ask, like, oh, what's your favorite book? It's like anything that was an escape. And the more that I read, the more these ideas came to me. And so I like to joke now that I'm feeling better. I was the car girl who got too sick to drive the fun cars. So I wrote about them instead. And
Love that.
so I wrote, I'm actually about to publish my second one in the series. So they're children's books about cars. And these car characters learn all kinds of life lessons. And it's funny because I look back at the first one and this little car, she teaches so many awesome lessons, but it was also reminders for me, because one of her big things is the other carlets. These are the young cars in the story. They're not very nice to her. And she's the smallest one. And so she has to kind of find it within her to remember who she is, and that, it's okay that she's small because she has a big heart. And so she has to remember to be kind to herself. Big lesson for myself, big reminder for myself.
Huge reminder, right? Mm.
And she's kind to others, even when they're not kind to her. And she's resilient. And so, here's this little car. And by the way, she is based on a real car that I had that I love. And so, yeah, so now, I've turned her into a character that resonates with kids, and she teaches lessons that are relatable. And it's been so much fun. And there's a quote by, of course, because I'm a car girl, I gotta go with a car quote, right? There's a quote that's attributed to Mario Andretti. And it's, when life gives you a curve, downshift and take it aggressively.
Love
Right?
it.
So I mean, we can laugh about it, hindsight and
Yeah.
everything, but the curve that life gave me was this illness, was, going through COVID, going through this illness, going through the loss of my job, and me downshifting and taking it aggressively was becoming a children's book author. And if you had asked me, as a kid, everybody always asked, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? I never would have said author.
Yeah.
Never. And it's not that it's a bad thing. I have a lot of respect for authors. I have even more respect for them now that I am one. But it was
Okay.
not something that was ever on my radar. So so here we are. I downshifted. I took that curve aggressively, and I'm enjoying it so much. Being able to share these stories with these kids who's, they have their own struggles and they need to learn these lessons. And for the adults and the reminders, like me.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what I'm all about with us moms because Lord knows we need those reminders. I mean,
Yeah.
we've already fallen so far in this path of neglecting ourselves and putting ourselves on the back burner enough. So it's so beautiful. I am so excited to have you on the show to share this because you're a prime example of somebody who could have easily been defeated, easily been weighed down by all this crap that was happening to you. I mean, seriously, that's this. I mean, anyone listening from the outside could be like, "Oh my God, that's horrific to go through. What a horrible experience." But at the same time, it's so beautiful to hear how you took where you're at and what was handed to you and you found a way to turn around and give back and to do something instead of nothing, instead of being defeated, you outgrew that and you found your purpose. You found what you were meant to do. Because a lot of times we don't realize even the horrible stuff that we
Yeah.
go through is truly leading us to an opportunity for something great. We just don't know it in the moment. And that's why we have to listen to stuff like this and listen and see those people out here who have been through hard times to show you that, look, even in the darkest of times, like, yeah, you gotta get through it. It's hard. And this is why, like, I encourage people, like, don't feel like you have to go through this stuff alone. Reach out, find people. There are people going through similar things.
Mhm.
Trust me, they're out there. Support each other. Do what you have to do for yourself to get through it. But look out for the opportunities. Like, had you not been forced to read like that, see, I'm not a reader, for instance. Like, I did not
Mhm.
grow up, I'm the same way. Did not grow up really liking to read. I was big in playing cars. I was a tomboy through and through. Loved my Matchbox cars. I'll never forget getting that when I was a little girl the first time. It was a guy that my mom was with who gave me all his cars when I was a kid. And it means the world to me that I kept those cars all these years
Yeah.
and I actually had passed them down to my son. And unfortunately, we did lose a lot of those in the house fire, but I still have some that survived. Now, I'm no car expert. I'm not somebody who ended up growing up like keeping that love for cars per se. But I have a husband who does, and he introduced me to like Top Gear and
Oh yeah.
that. And so we watch that with our kids even. And it's cool because even my 3-year-old would be like, can watch the car show. And, so it's neat to see them. And my son, we have a 16-year-old now that we're like, we need to start teaching him about oil changes and how to do all these things
Yeah.
for himself. And so it's nice to have that bonding time with father and son while also teaching him a skill that he'll need and seeing him have a love for cars. So
Yeah.
it's so neat. And I love the fact that you overall not only came out of the darkness, but you thrived through the darkness. Your story is just, it resonates with so many people. And it just, because, my mother in law found out in her 70s, has just
Yeah.
found out she had Lyme disease all along. And it's hard for her because she's already for so long has been used to being sensitive to smells, to
Yeah.
foods, to touch. I mean, I can't even like hug her. And it's like to know that she has to go through these. I don't even know if she really can go. I don't know if she could sustain the treatments, honestly, because she's
Yeah.
already suffered for so many years. But it's the same thing with you. Like she tried to advocate to a point, and so many doctors were like, no, that's not it. That's not it. And wouldn't even give a
Yeah.
chance. And finally, she found somebody who like took her serious enough to do additional testing and to find out, yeah, all along, that's what she suffered with that cost her her abilities to hug her children
Mhm.
and cost her so much, missing out, just missing out on things that
Yeah.
she could have been doing,
Yeah. And
So
and that's been, I think the hardest thing is, my husband will say, don't do too much. You don't wanna overextend yourself. And it's like, but I'm missing out on life.
yeah.
I'm missing out on life. So, you know, yeah, I'm gonna sit in my chair. I'm gonna prop myself up in my chair and I'm going to weed my garden. Like, because first of all, it needs to be done. And second, because like I'm tired of having to sit out.
Yeah.
Um, and so that's been, I'm not gonna sit here and say like I'm through it and everything is great now.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful because, I have much better days and
Yeah.
I have more good days than bad.
Yeah.
Those bad days are still there and they're still hard.
And
Um,
and you know what? That's life.
yeah,
Unfortunately, and I love that you're at least doing your best to have a perspective of like doing what you can when you can and just trying to embrace life in the way that life has been it is for you right now.
yeah,
And you know what? And I hope that are you right now still going through the treatments?
yeah, yeah,
Bless your heart, bless your heart. Is there like a time frame for that or is it just until your body finally shows that it's gone?
yeah.
Okay.
So at this point, because I've had it for so long,
Yeah.
it's never going to be gone. It's
Okay.
going to be, we're looking at trying to get it to a certain level where I won't have flares anymore.
Yeah. Here's that.
And I'm not there yet, but you know, on the good days, I feel better than I ever remember feeling in my entire adult life. And that's like, and just like your mother-in-law, it's like I've missed out on so much. And and I knew something was wrong. And I'm really fortunate that I had doctors who were willing to like think outside the box and
Yeah.
like they supported me and they were stumped just as much as I was. So, to finally have an answer,
Yeah.
it was huge.
Oh, yeah. And this, like you say, this is why you have to advocate for yourself. I mean, our healthcare system, it's been proving it's becoming more and more realized how, run by pharma and how, they're not even taught a lot of things that are simple things that can really change our health.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are exposing, a lot of people are trying to help people get not only affordable ways to really get answers, but, just really being open more to knowing that, the answer's not always in a pill. And a lot of
Yeah.
times it's definitely not in a pill. So there's all sorts of things out there now. So I always encourage people like do your research and don't
Yeah.
listen to the mainstream media. They're meant to lie. They're bought out. You need to really go in there and find those independent people who are really, really speaking up and trying to find the truth. And that is what I'm all about because I really believe that there's so many things out there for us that can help us that actually are so they're simple things
Yeah.
even. And
Yeah.
as we've been conditioned is that we feel like everything needs to be complicated. Everything's
Yeah.
supposed to be so hard. So I implore anyone out there to not just for yourself or your children, because
Yeah.
doctors only know so much and they're only allowed to even do so much. And so it does take really finding that person who's going to think outside the box, who's going to look for you because it does, it's unfortunate. But I will say that even in her 70s, this woman would go and do dance classes. She started doing acting classes. We play pickleball all the time. She's living. And so it's never too late. And I'm so excited that for you that you found answers now and that you're working towards, finding a new way to live with it while also, moving forward. And the fact that, like I said, isn't it amazing though, when you look at your life and you think about these ways that what you think was meant to harm you actually led you to where you were meant to go and what you're meant to do, and you're just getting started. I mean, this is beautiful path that you're on. I dream of being an author someday myself, so that's inspiring for me to meet people who have been able to turn things that they're passionate about into something like this. I mean, what a beautiful way to keep that love for cars going no matter what, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It
And not only that, but to share it with the next generation of car kids, and I say we have our extended car family that are, dear friends in the car community and now our kids are being raised with them,
yeah.
and so like this is and like I said, an extended family and it's so special and so incredible and it's such a wonderful community to be a part of. And it's just amazing that I'm able to share that even though I'm not able to drive like I was previously. I can still share that love and that joy and that passion, you know, through these books and actually reach a broader audience by doing it that way too.
Yeah, and I do love that you really did this for children because, like you say, it's the next generation, and already they struggle so much. I mean, think about
Yeah.
you as a child. Like we struggle so much with insecurities, with unknowing,
Mhm.
thinking we have all the answers, dealing with pressure. So from society, from bullies, from all sorts of, everything's coming at you, and you're just trying to figure. You can't. It's hard to try to figure out life as a child, right? So it's like
Yeah.
it's so nice to create stuff that teaches them real life skills of love, kindness, acceptance, especially self acceptance. That's
Yes.
something I'm so passionate about.
Mhm.
As teaching kids and even ourselves, like to love who we are. Like we're freaking amazing just as we are. And we need to start owning that and loving that and stop feeling like we have to be this person or be that and this and that in order to be loved and accepted. That's like, it's just a bunch of bull. And it's never going to make you happy when you're not true to who you are and who you were
Exactly.
meant to be. And so I think it's truly beautiful. And I can't wait to share this so that people can hopefully get this for their kids because this is, I think, such a great message that we should be, sharing, and like you say, a great reminder for ourselves.
For sure.
Oh yeah. Hey, mama. I know what it's like to feel like you're just going through the motions, showing up for everyone else, but wondering, what about me? You have dreams, you have a purpose, and I truly believe you're meant for more than just surviving the day. That's why I'm offering something really special, a free Radiant Mom breakthrough session with me. This is just a heart centered conversation where we get to the root of what's been keeping you stuck and help you find real clarity on your next steps. And if by the end of our time together, we both feel like I can support you further on this journey, we can talk about that, but no pressure, no expectations. My goal is for you to walk away with a renewed sense of direction and confidence to take action now. So, if you're ready to shift things in your life, go grab your free session using the calendar link in the show notes before spots fill up. I'd love to connect with you. All right, now let's get back to the show. And I'd love to hear, how old are your children?
So my daughter is 10 and my son is 8.
Awesome, awesome. And now tell us a little bit about like their experience through all of this. I always like to see the connection as far as them seeing what you're going through, the choices you've made. How's that going with them?
It's been, oh gosh, like this is where all the mom guilt comes in,
Mhm.
because we've talked about, what I'm missing out on. And part of what I'm missing out on is them, so that gets really hard for me. But I really am so grateful that they're seeing me not sick. I don't like them seeing me sick, but I like them seeing me persevere through it, to to fight for myself, to work hard to feel better, for them to see that sometimes to feel better, you have to feel worse. You
Right.
know, th- Sometimes that there are hard choices that you have to make
Mhm.
in order for the greater good. So it's one of those, like, learning by doing, learning by, they're watching me go through this, and I'm so grateful that I'm able to be strong enough to show them that if I can get through this, they can get through what's life, whatever life is gonna throw at them too. Um, and it's been ah, my son has definitely struggled more than my daughter, because I mean, my daughter, she's a little older. She's able to communicate her feelings a little bit better and can have the conversation. "Oh, well, it's scary to see this, and yeah, it's scary to go through it. We can have those conversations." With my son, you know, not only was he so young when all of this started, but he would actively avoid talking about it. How did this make you feel? I don't want to talk about it. Okay. But, I will tell you, there were days where it was really, really bad. And, I'm just in bed and I've got to feed my family. So, you order pizza or you DoorDash something or whatever. And so it would be delivered, and the kids would be able to get it from the front door, because again, COVID time, so the
Oh
delivery
yes.
person had to leave it
Yeah. Yeah.
and not stay there. So it's like, okay, well, once you see them drive away, then you can get it.
Yeah.
And so they would get it, and I remember, my kids are raised like Montessori kids, so they have access to all their plates and silverware and all of this, and so they put the pizza on the table. They go, they get their plate, and they serve themselves. Well, there was this one day where it was just so bad, and I just remember my son and I think he was like 4 or 5 at the time, and he got me one of their plates, he put a piece of pizza on it for me and he brought it to me in bed. And he said, "Here you go, Mama. I wanted to make sure you eat too." I'm like, talk about.
Oh God, I know. Oh my God. Gotta love your kids though. Like
Yeah.
that's see, but that's like what character you're raising. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like that's so God. I don't know that that's I. 'Cause I bring me to tears because I do
Yep.
like my son. He's 16 now, but even now at 16, like golly, he's so amazing,
Yeah.
and even how he comforts me. Because like recently, I've been going through something that I have not really talked about yet in open. And I'm going to because I need to. I
Yeah.
believe, that it's powerful, but and you know what? Screw it. I could share it on this episode for the first time. But so, one of the things that if you've been following me, if you know my story, my dad has always been in and out of my life my whole life. I think the last time we ever spoke, I was like 18 years old and then it was like ghosted, done. Well, I'm 37 now and he's recently resurfaced in my life. And it's been very emotional for me. And it's crazy because so I had done this post to share about my son's Hawaii trip that we've been, some people want to donate to. And I actually got a notification and he had like paid off the rest of the balance. And we haven't even spoken, like, you know what I mean? So it was just like it just really hit me and was very emotional for me, and I was telling my son about it, and I love the way that he's just like he hugged me. He just hugged me and held me, and it's like, "It's okay, mom," you know?
Yeah.
He to a point understands his biological dad and has refused to acknowledge his existence as well, but, he's been very blessed to find his real dad who adopted him, which I
Mhm.
love. So he's very blessed. I never had that kind of experience. I'm
Yeah.
thankful that I got to give that to my son, but it's just like just those moments where they comfort you too.
Yeah.
It's like it's okay to receive that. As parents we feel bad like we shouldn't have our kids doing for us, but
Right.
at the same time, I think it's another lesson. First, you're building a beautiful character in your child to show
Absolutely.
kindness, to show comfort, to
Mhm.
be able to do for others. And we give so much of ourselves and we feel like we're not allowed to receive. And I think that's one of those moments and reminders of like it's okay. It's okay sometimes to just need a hug from your child. It's okay for them to be there and to love on you in those times where you're feeling all these things.
Yeah.
And I just hope you can find a way to like see that for anyone who feels guilty. If your kids, my son has caught me crying before from being bullied at work and
Yeah.
loved him coming and he just held me and just said, "I'm sorry, mom," and wanted to go there and beat her up the like, I wanna go beat her but it's like, oh, it's beautiful to
It
see
is.
that they have this heart. And I hope that you can see it that way and
Absolutely.
not beat
Mhm.
yourself up about it. Also, I would love for you to speak to somebody right now who may be listening, who's dealing with an illness or something that's hindering them from living in the way they wanna live right now, like, something you'd like to say to them?
It's hard and it sucks. And there's always going to be the people that say, "You're so strong." And I remember thinking to myself, "What? Like, I don't want to be strong. I don't want to have to go through this." But you do it anyway. You do it anyway. You do it for yourself and you do it for your family. And as hard as it is, and as much as it sucks, there is still so much joy in the journey that I've found. And I hope that anyone listening, they're able to find it too.
Yeah. That's so powerful. I mean, it's not easy. It really isn't. And you know what? And that's okay at the same time. I think we need to be a little this is where self-compassion comes in.
Yeah,
Be a little
exactly.
compassionate, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like understand like life isn't always meant to be rainbows and butterflies. Like that's not how it's supposed to be. Just like a relationship is not supposed to be all easy beasy. I mean, if it is, then that's something's wrong. Because it's like you're meant to be with somebody who freaking challenges you, who loves you,
Exactly.
who meets you that way, who's
Yeah,
partners, but also understands like we're gonna have our bad days, but it's not about letting that define our relationship or
right.
define our lives. Like if you're going through a health issue that's, debilitating you or keeping you and
Yeah,
hindering you from really living or being there for your kids in ways you want. There's people in situations, even if you don't have health issues, that, life is just crazy and you don't even get to show up for your kids in the way you want to. So it's like all about being just, I think, true to yourself and where you are, and also being kind to yourself and knowing that, you know, there's only so much control you have. If you got to go through it, you got to go through it, but you're right. Just do it anyways, right? You got to keep taking it one day at a time,
Yep.
enjoying those days where you have the good days, embracing it, and being a little compassionate to yourself on the days that it's not so good. That, you know what? If you need to be in bed, you need to be in bed. If you need to take it easy, and then maybe the next day will be a better day where you can get up and do more, you
Yep.
know? Right. I love to see though that you have been able to do something through the storm as you're going through it. And I do really wish you all the best in getting this treatment, like
I
getting
really
to the other.
appreciate it.
Yes, I really do. I can't wait to see you on the other side of this and to know that you won't, you know, be held back as much, but you're obviously not allowing that to hold you back too much, and I love that. Good for you. Like, seriously, good for you and good for what the role that the examples that you're teaching your children because they're sponges, they're watching. And
Yeah.
then and we do put a lot in our kids, as has happened to us too. We've had a lot of stuff put in us as well that we also have to kind of figure through and relearn things that we wanna change about,
Mhm.
ourselves and our lives, so it's quite the journey, right? It's all about trying to find the good points and focusing on that rather than the lack of or the things that we're not so happy with, isn't it? I mean,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, it is.
So, again, the car girl and me coming out, I like to enjoy the drive. I'm not worried about the destination.
There you go. Talk about a way to really appreciate the journey because it
Yeah.
truly is about the journey, not the destination. Lord knows when we get there, we're gonna be like, like it's almost like this. Well, what now or what's next? And don't get me wrong, that can be exciting too,
Yeah.
but at the same time, like don't miss out. Don't look back and be like, "Oh, I missed out on time with my kids or my family, or I missed out on enjoying that. I was so stressed out waiting to get to this point, blah blah blah
Yeah.
blah." You know what I mean? It's like, no, like that's my goal with working with people. It's just wanting them to learn to love their now while they work towards what's next for them in their future.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It is awesome, but I can't thank you enough. Tell us if anyone's listening and they would love to learn more about you, follow you on your journey, where can they find you?
They can find me just about everywhere. So I am at Ryanne Siddiq _author. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. My book, Speedy Phoebe, is on Amazon. And hopefully, by the time this airs, my second book will be out, and that will be Speedy Phoebe and the New Wheel.
Oh,
Uh, this is where she has now made friends with one of the other Carlets that were not very nice to her, and they work together to earn money to buy these new wheels, and an accident forces them to hit the brakes. So yeah, so hopefully by the time this
uh-huh.
episode airs,
Oh, yes.
CD Phoebe and the New Wheels will be out too, and they can find out what happens in the story.
Oh my goodness, that's exciting. I'm
It
so
is
excited for you.
exciting.
I know I'm so excited for you. And I'm just so gracious to have you on here to share this and be as vulnerable as you have. I think there's such power in vulnerability and us
Mm.
sharing our stories and really being real and just allowing ourselves, giving ourselves permission and others permission to like just talk about the things, even the things that are not so nice, not so good. It's
Yeah,
okay because we're all going through our own stuff. And it's like, it's nice to not feel so alone on that
yeah,
journey.
for
And
sure.
then to give each other strength to keep going no matter what. Just keep going because you're meant for greatness. There is something on the other side of it.
Yeah,
You don't know when it is, and that's okay. Just learn to just take it one day at a time and enjoy what you can along the way. That is so important to not miss out because life is not promised tomorrow. We don't know how long we have here. Life is short, and we don't want to look back and have all these regrets of things that we wish we did and regret that we
absolutely.
didn't do and stuff. And so I always, of course, open up the floor. Is there any final piece of advice or any thoughts you'd like to share?
Well, I just, you know, on a personal note, I just wanted to say thank you for having me on and, for having this platform for people to share their stories and to be vulnerable in a safe space to be able to share and hopefully connect with somebody who needs it. And, like I said, just enjoy the drive.
Love it. I love it. No, and of course, it's like truly a bit of passion of mine. So thankful to have made the decision to even do this because, again, we there's so many things that come in front of us, and it's still our decision in the end if we do something about it or not, right? And I was scared. I
Absolutely.
mean, I was so scared to put myself out there at the beginning. I didn't know what to think. I was like, podcast? Like, who am I? Like, I remember having all those thoughts. And then here I am. And I've interviewed over 60 people already around the world. I'm there's so many more to go. And I'm so excited. And this is just getting started. And I really do, like you say, I love having a place to have people just be real,
Yeah.
have conversations and just share and support each other. I think it's such a beautiful thing. And I'm just so grateful to meet women like you, truly grateful to meet women like you. So I wish you all the best in your journey and just know I'm here to support you in any way that I can. Anyone who's listening, please go get her book for your kids. It sounds like a beautiful message, and by the time this does air, I'm sure her other book will be out. You gotta find out what happens. So go support her and follow her, and, if there's anything that we can do, let us know. Please reach out to us if you wanna share your story or tell us how this resonated with you, helped inspire you in any way on your journey. We love to hear from you all. So let's get connected, and again, Ryan, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us today.
Thank you, Mary. I really appreciate it.
Ryanne is such a beautiful soul, and I am so grateful for her. She was so generous to send me and my kids an autographed book of Speedy Phoebe after this interview that I got to give to my kids as a Christmas gift. And the story was so good and important, not only for my kids, but for myself. So I highly recommend getting you a copy of that today. Here are the key takeaways from today's episode. You are stronger than your struggles. Ryanne's journey shows that even in the face of chronic illness, you can find new purpose and passion. You have the power to rewrite your story. Just like Ryanne transitioned from finance to becoming a children's book author, you can pivot and pursue what truly lights you up. Your challenges don't define you, they refine you. Every setback can be a stepping stone to something greater if you choose to see it that way. You deserve self-compassion. Pushing through hardships is important, but so is giving yourself grace along the way. Your voice and experiences matter. By sharing your story, you can inspire and impact others in ways you never imagined. You can turn pain into purpose. No matter what you're facing, there's always an opportunity to create something meaningful from it. Be sure to follow Ryanne on social media and get a copy on Amazon of both of her books. If you found this episode impactful, please be sure to share this with another mom and leave us a review or donate and show your support to this podcast to ensure we are able to continue providing inspiring and valuable content for all you incredible moms out there. I can't thank you enough for tuning in with me each week. Be sure to visit me at marydibblecoaching.com to see what events are coming up or how I can help support you on your journey towards the abundant and joyful life you deserve. Until next time, much love.